Hey, good day, good people. Been a while. Just had some articles that I come across that I would like to share with y'all. So, without further ado, let's see here. CNN reports the United Methodist Church lifts 40-year ban on LGBT clergy. The United Methodist Church overturned its 40-year ban on gay clergy Wednesday, marking a historic shift in the church's stance on homosexuality. The church has been long divided into factions over LGBTQ inclusion and even weighed splitting into two separate churches over the issue. CNN previously reported in 1984, the church banned self-avowed practicing homosexuals from becoming members of the clergy and later added performing or celebrating same-sex unions to a list of chargeable offenses that could result in a church trial, according to a timeline of the church's history with the LGBTQ community. The Methodist community spent the ensuing decades debating, fighting, and praying over their stance on gay clergy and LGBTQ members. But Wednesday's vote by the church's top legislative body signaled a historic shift toward acceptance and inclusion. In a 692 to 51 vote, church leaders passed several rules without debate, including overturning both its ban on gay clergy and the penalties for holding same-sex marriages, according to the United Methodist News Service. After the vote, Hope Morgan Ward, a retired bishop in the United Methodist Church, prayed the church would be used as peacemakers and servants, and be welcoming of all people into the embrace of God. According to the Methodist News Service, a member cheered, cried, and hugged after the vote. "We've been going on like this since the 70s, and finally, in just a brief few minutes with no debate, it was gone. And now we can get on about the business of the church." Marilyn Murphy, an observer from the church's South Carolina conference, told the news service. I've got to touch this delicately because I don't really want another strike by YouTube, but this is where the church is at these days, folks. I mean, the Bible's really clear on its stance against this. I mean, it's cut and dry. I mean, sin is sin. But at the same time, we're not supposed to be hating the people. I mean, win them with love instead of just treating them so differently. I mean, I heard a friend of mine heard of somebody going to a church and they were LGBTQ, and the preacher had spotted them out, and before the service even began told them that they need to get out because they're already going to hell anyway. That is not the approach we need to take, people. You're not going to get anywhere with hate and degradation. I mean, you're not going to get anywhere with that. We're supposed to love these people. We're supposed to hate the sin as God hates it. But as far as these people go, love them into God. I mean, I don't agree with what's going on here with the United Methodist Church at all. But I mean, I'm really not going to go into why because of YouTube sensitivity. But I'm just going to jump over to another article before I get myself in trouble. Now, this right here is just crazy. Alright, let's see here. We are Metro News. Possessed murder suspect ate man's face, eyeball, and ear after killing him. What? Let's see what's going on with this craziness. I mean, look at the look on that dude's face. He looks surprised right there. Let's see here. A man has been accused of killing convenience store customers before eating his face in Las Vegas, Nevada. Remember years ago when we had that incident in Florida? They blamed it on bath salts. Well, I mean, I don't think it was bath salts, because in my past, I hate to say, but I've done numerous substances, and not once have I ever thought it would be a good idea to eat somebody's face. I mean, I've been awake longer than this dude has. So don't tell me it's just drugs, okay? There are other things going on in this world other than just drugs. Alright, back to the article. Colin Check, 29, reportedly tackled Kenneth Brown to the ground on Las Vegas Boulevard near Charleston Boulevard just before 5 a.m. Sunday. CBS Austin reported that a 7-Eleven employee told police a man had punched a customer in the parking lot before tackling the man and smashing his head on the concrete. Well, about 45 minutes later, police received another call from witnesses reporting a man fitting the same description, now at a bus stop eating another man's face. One of the males was unresponsive and bleeding from the head, the police said. The victim, identified by the broadcaster as Kenneth, was taken to the hospital having sustained a large cut to his face and missing an eye and an ear. He was later pronounced deceased by medical personnel, the police added. Officers found Check with biological matter in his hair, mouth, and on his clothing, according to the arrest documents obtained by CBS affiliate KLAS. Y'all know what that's saying, right? I mean, they found him with this dude's flesh in his hair, face, and clothes, his teeth. I mean, just look at him. I mean, he looks dead on the inside. Check was taken into custody at the Clark County Detention Center on an open murder charge at 5:57 a.m. He claimed he was homeless, had been awake for 5 days straight because he was possessed, and that Kenneth had attacked him. He used his teeth to eat Kenneth's eyeball and ears, he told detectives, the document said. Appearing today at Las Vegas Justice Court this morning, Check's lawyer told Judge Amy Shellanen that he believes Check is incompetent to stand trial. There's his arrest report. Chief Deputy Public Defender David Westbrook said he intends to request a medical examination for Check. He told the court, "I've spoken to him and I've determined that he is incompetent. He had failed to appear in court on Monday." Alright, that's the end of that article. So, folks, I don't know what to say. I don't know where you are in your beliefs. But, Western culture has taken spirituality out of everything. There are things that we cannot see, touch, or smell, but they can get to us. I call them demons. That's a blanket term. There are a lot of different demonic entities that affect you in different ways. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some good guys out there that we can't see. But demons are real. I don't think this guy was lying when he said he'd been up 5 days because he was possessed. I mean, think about it. Demons feed on you when you are at your lowest. All right, they need negative vibrations to feed on. I mean, fear, hate, envy, anger, depression. This is what they feed on. So think about this. This guy, been homeless, don't know how long he been homeless, possibly may have been on drugs. Drugs are a known doorway to demonic attacks and demonic entities. So, I mean, I believe this guy, because it takes a special person to bash somebody's face on the sidewalk and then eat their eyeball, their cheek, and their ear. I mean, I know there is no imaginations to evil when it comes to human beings, but that's just a little much there. And yeah, I honestly believe he had some help. So, speaking of demons and how they affect us, let's look at what John MacArthur has to say. Pastor John MacArthur causes firestorm of reactions after saying there is no such thing as mental illnesses called PTS. Oh, let me reread that. Pastor John MacArthur causes firestorm of reactions after saying there is no such thing as mental illness, calls PTSD grief. In what at least one critic has dismissed as the Dunning-Kruger effect in action, Pastor John MacArthur of Grace Community Church in Sun Valley, California, claims there is no such thing as mental illness. More than 1 in 5 U.S. adults live with a mental illness, according to U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Over 1 in 5 youth aged 13 to 18, either currently or at some point during their life, have had a serious, debilitating mental illness. About 1 in 25 U.S. adults also live with a serious mental illness such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or major depression. Days before the beginning of Mental Health Awareness Month, however, MacArthur, who is also the president of the Master's College and Seminary, called mental illness noble lies while speaking during a panel discussion at Grace Church of the Valley last Thursday. Citing the arguments presented by clinical psychologist Bruce E. Levine in his book, A Profession Without Reason and the Myth of Mental Illnesses, by the now deceased Hungarian-American psychiatrist Thomas Szasz. MacArthur urged parents not to believe in noble lies he alleged are becoming supported by the pharmaceutical industry so they can sell medications to the public. MacArthur's comments about mental illness came in response to a question about helping parents navigate America's cultural disaster. Just to lay it out simply, kids are sinful. Now, this is John MacArthur speaking here. Just to lay it out simply, kids are sinful. I have great-grandchildren, and by the time they're 3 or 4, their sin nature is starting to be manifest. Then you add the father's sin are visited under the 3rd and 4th generations, MacArthur said. In addition to their sinful nature, the California megachurch pastor explained that the current culture is now targeting children to trap them in sin. The homosexuals say, "We are coming after your kids." They are not trying to protect them, but targeting them in the schools. They're targeting them through the media. Disney and companies like that that develop child entertainment are targeting children for really what amounts to moral and spiritual destruction. So this is a war on our children, said MacArthur, who on Monday released his new book, The War on Children, Providing Refuge for Your Children in a Hostile World. MacArthur asserted that the increasing diagnosis of children with mental illness today is not teaching them personal responsibilities, and medicating them for these illnesses only turned them into drug addicts and potentially criminals. I was reading a book, an interesting book called A Profession Without Reason. It is a book that shows basically This is pretty shocking to some of you that psychiatry and psychology is finally admitting the noble lies we've been telling for at least 100 years, MacArthur says. Well, I'm going to agree with some of the things that John is saying here. The pharmaceutical industries and the psychiatry field are working in cahoots with each other. A lot of the psychiatry field is just a farce. They've taken and broken down just normal human behaviors and tagged them as mental illness. But one thing that I do want to point out that John did not call out, because John is a staunch cessationist, meaning that he believes the gifts of the Holy Spirit has stopped. A lot of mental illnesses are caused by demonic oppression and demonic attacks. There's no way around it. If you will look into clinical psychologist Jerry Marzinsky, he has done phenomenal research into schizophrenics, and that the voices that they're actually hearing are in fact entities and not hallucination, as the psychiatric field would have you to believe. So, in some aspects, yeah, John is right here. A lot of what they call in mental illnesses, are not mental illnesses. It is us giving in to suggestions. Like those voices that out of the blue say, "You see the way they looked at you? They don't like you. You know how good you've been to them? How does that make you feel? That makes you feel bad, don't it?" Stuff like that. Or, things will be going good, be driving down the road and think, "Hey, won't you just get to 100 and plow into a tree?" I know I'm not the only one. I know that y'all have had it out there. We all have these negative attacks. And the reason there are some mental illnesses. Let me clear that up. There are some people who's had some damages to the brain, or have had something happen that causes the brain to not function. But I'll be willing to say that probably 90% of what is called today mental illness is nothing more than the manifestation of demonic oppression. No two ways about it. Well, just wanted to get on here and share some of the craziness going on in our world and give you some of my views on it. If you like this info, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Share this video around if you don't mind. And I pray that Father blesses each and every one of y'all with the most amazing day, full of laughs, smiles, loves, and many good memories. This has been Jeremy with I Want to Know More. Thank you so much for stopping by.